Can you think of the last time you did something that kind of terrified you and simultaneously excited you at the same time? Why is it that we tend to shy away from opportunities like that? I know it's hard. We sometimes succumb to our doubt or our fear and we let them pass us by. So I started thinking about how could we reframe that in such a way that rather than shying away, we actually step up. And there were three insights that came to me that I'd love to share with you today. The first of them is that I think if we can recognize that by definition, going out of our comfort zone is going to be uncomfortable. But it's what allows us to grow. It's what allows us to recognize what it is that's truly in us that would otherwise never really be reached. And what I'm realizing, and maybe you can relate to this too, as I look back over the opportunities that I didn't seize when they revealed themselves to me, that there's pain when you recognize that you're ready for more, but for whatever reason, you aren't allowing yourself to step into it. I love the quote by Aeneas Nin. She said, "And the day came when the risk to remain in the bud became more painful than the risk it took to blossom." So I think if you can keep that in mind, that can give you a little bit of the added push that you need to actually have the courage to step forward. The second thing that I realized is that I think sometimes we hesitate because we reason, I'm just not ready. I need a little more experience. I need a little more confidence before I'm ready to take that next step. And I think this is a trap, and it's one that I've fallen into before multiple times. And it basically looks like this. I just need to get a little more education, a little more training. And so what happens is we read another book or we go to another workshop or we sign up for another course. And there's something that's missing in that translation. I don't think there's enough courses that you could possibly take that will give you what taking action and doing something gives you. And it does require that we start before we're ready. It requires that we step into the unknown and we brave something that we probably don't feel very well equipped for just yet. But it's not unlike the journey the butterfly takes. I remember hearing that a butterfly, if somebody actually tries to take it out of the cocoon, will die because the very act of pushing up against the cocoon allows the butterfly, when it spreads its wings, to release fluid that allows the wings to become stiff and lets the insect fly. And if the animal, or the insect, I guess it is, doesn't engage in that act of pushing, it will never actually have its wings. And I think the same thing is true of us. I think that the act that initiates us from learning about something and having a theoretical grasp to actually gaining the experience necessary to try something and graduate from learning something to actually doing something is action. It is getting out there and doing it before you really know how, before you're as prepared as you'd like to be, and before you have the confidence that you think you need in order to act. So, and I think the benefit, the reward of taking action before you have confidence is that as a result, you gain the confidence that you seek. So that brings me to my last insight, which is this realization that in the absence of confidence, which I think is gained when we take action, we can rely on something else, and that is courage. And one of the things I love about courage, well, one of my favorite quotes is from a guy named Ambrose Redmoon. He says, "Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important." And I think what allows us to have courage is when we move the emphasis from worrying about ourselves to doing something that serves other people. So I think when we can reframe our efforts from what it is that we're worried about in terms of us, our image, saving face or losing face or looking like an idiot or whatever the case might be, to thinking about how we can serve another human being, we tap into courage that allows us to summon the energy and the grit necessary to do whatever it is we've been called to do. So those are my three insights for today. I hope you enjoyed them. I know if you're like me, you may have allowed some of these opportunities to pass you by, but one thing that I know for sure is that life doesn't give up on us. So chances are you're going to be presented with something else in the not too distant future. And I love the quote from T.S. Eliot, it's never too late to be who you could have been. Thanks for watching.